Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So, let's start with Julian. So, from yesterday's episode, we all know that he got shot. And he's at the bus depot waiting to take a bus to Canada. I understand why he decides to take a bus as opposed to taking a plane or anything else, or even so much as, taking someone else's car. But with that being said, does he honestly think that he's just going to get on the bus driver's just going to be like, oh, I see you bleeding. Nah, it's cool, you can just hop on back in it, it's cool. And I don't understand how that's going to work, but you know what? He's desperate, he's running out of options, and he's running out of blood. And with that being said, he starts having these delusions. First is Duke, then is Connie, and last it's Alexis. Now here's the thing about this scene. This is all supposed to be part of Julian's conscience, and pretty much just kind of guilt tripping him. Each person, Duke tells him about how he wronged him and he killed them, and, same thing with Connie, and same thing, well, sort of, with Alexis. Not gonna lie, probably should be more people in his conscience, but whatever. Here's the thing about Duke. From what I understand, that Duke was being a double agent. He was working with Sonny, and he was working to spy on Julian. He got caught. That's what happens. Also, bro, you're in a mob. At some point, you don't think that, you're not gonna get killed? That never factor into, your decision to join a mob? So it was you knew exactly what you were getting into. And yeah, I understand, it was still wrong for Julian to sit there and take a life, kill Duke, but that's kind of what happens when you're in a mob. So, I'm sorry, but I'm not really... It's not so much I'm not shedding any tears over Duke's death, but I'm not sitting there acting well, that's kind of collateral damage. Now let's talk about Faith. Faith was... not Faith. I seriously thought that was Faith Roscoe at one point. What happened to Faith Roscoe, by the way? Does anyone know? I've been watching the show for a while, but I don't remember what happened with Faith Roscoe. Did she die? Did she move on? What happened? But anyway, let's talk about Connie. So, Connie's all oh, you played on, you manipulated Ava into killing you because, Ava had to sit there and protect your secret and yada yada yada. And while that might have been all true, at the end of the day, Ava's the one that killed you. Not Julian. Now, whether Julian had a hand in it or whatever, manipulated her, I'm not too sure because... I'm going to be honest, I did kind of take a break from watching General Hospital for a while. But even if Julian convinced Ava to shoot Connie, Ava's still the one that did it. So why is she on your conscience? Why is she sitting there guilt tripping you? Now let's go with Alexis. Alexis' gripe was the fact that, Julian held a knife to her neck. But Julie only did that because Leo's life was in danger from the other Olivia. And I'm pretty sure, and I'm guessing, that Lucas was shot because of Olivia. I'm thinking. So it's not like he just did it because he was upset or whatever. He did it. He did have a reason why he did it. Why he actually put a knife to Alexis' throat. And he also saved Alexis in the end. So, seriously? Alexis is still riding that whole, oh, you put a knife to my throat, yada, yada, yada. It was there was other factors that we're apparently just going to ignore. Sure, whatever. What else? So the whole point, while that's going on, he's still losing a lot of blood. Now we got Jason, Sonny, and Brick, a.k.a. Stephen A. Smith, conversating about how to find Julian. And Brick informs Sonny that he has some new software that they can sit there and recognize people's faces through social media and dash cams and all sorts of other stuff. So, long story short, they find out where Julian's location is, and, you know, Sonny monologues about how, you know, this time, you know, he has nowhere to run, and we're gonna get him, and it's, you know, just across the water, yada yada yada, and I'm just like, you still have to get there, and he can still be gone by the time that you get there, so you might want to speed it up a bit. Just saying. What else? So while that's going on back in Port Charles, Portia is once again copying an attitude at Ava because she can't keep track of her own kid. Let's be honest, that's exactly what this whole beginning of the scene is about. She walks up to Ava, she's all like, I can't find my daughter and it's your fault. I'm sorry, sweetheart, maybe if you were a better mother and was able to actually keep track of your daughter, she wouldn't have to do your job. This is when Ava's like, you know what, listen, I haven't seen her at the gallery for days. I haven't seen her at all. I have no idea where she's at. And then this is when Portia's like, oh, well, if she's not with you or whatever, then where could she be at? I'm sorry, sweetheart, why don't you actually apologize to her? Since, you know, she had nothing to do with your daughter not being where you think she's at. But no. So Ava talks reason, logic and reasoning into Portia, and she decides to call up Trina and get her to come to the hospital when Portia couldn't reach her, no matter how many times she kept calling and texting. So maybe you should actually thank her instead of constantly sitting there copying an attitude whenever you can't find her or something's going on with her. I'm not gonna lie, that whole scene just kind of irritated me. And granted, yeah, Portia was more, you know, more understanding, and, you know, when Ava was like, you know, listen, she's going through a lot, she feels you're going to give her the riot act, so she probably just turned off her phone. And she was more, you know, receptive, but, like, it's still, like, it would have been nice to hear an apology, just saying. But yeah, Ava does reach Trina and tells her to come to the hospital to, you know, see her mother because her mother's saying that they're very sick. Now, earlier, Trina was at the park and Jordan approaches her. Trina starts in with her attitude, you know, says something along the lines of, oh, you shouldn't sneak up on people because they, you know, they may have a heart condition. Okay, sure, Trina, whatever. And I get it to some extent because, you know, she feels that Jordan did throw her dad under the bus. What she did, but there was other factors for it. So, Jordan has a long conversation about why Taggart did what he did, as far as framing Cyrus, and how Cyrus, you know, he wasn't going down easy. You know, he couldn't find anything to really convict him, and all the bodies were still piling up. So they did what they had to do. And after she explains that to Trina, Trina is a lot more receptive and even thanks her for, you know, explaining that to her and, you know, all that other stuff. So she drops the attitude and she heads over to visit her mother. Now, Taggart comes out the shadows like Batman and, you know, thanks Jordan for the kind words. But their conversation is cut very short because a gunman decides to try to take out Taggart. Now, Jordan, being the super cop that she is, takes out the assassin or whatever, the gunman. And the gunman is ever so convenient, ever so helpful, by explaining to Jordan and Taggart that he was there to take out Taggart, and he was following the girl that would lead back to Taggart. You know, Cyrus, you know, gave him instructions and yada yada yada. And I'm just like, so let me get this straight. You're telling me that the gunman's last words was to tell Taggart and Jordan Cyrus's plans? Are you kidding me? Could you have been more helpful? It's almost as though, you know, I wish, you know, the gunmen or the bad guys would just, you know, die, and before they die, they just give the good guys that extra helpful information before they die. It'd be so great. I was like, are you kidding me? But sure, whatever. With that being said, they decide to bring in, well, Jordan decides to bring in Mac. And when Mac walks up and he sees Tiger alive, he's surprised. He's just like, are you kidding me? So, yeah, that happens. Now, what else happens? So, let's talk about Nicholas and Britt. They get into some words because Nicholas is literally hanging out by Ryan Chamberlain's, like, door. Like, he's, like, in a hallway. It looked like he was about to walk in. And Britt walks up, he's like, yo, what are you doing? So, you know, Britt literally is like, so was he trying to just off Ryan? Like, just get rid of him? So they talk a little bit, and somewhere along the lines, Nicholas confesses that he really does have feelings for Ava. And while that's going on, they're going back and forth for whatever. I'm not gonna lie, their talk really wasn't that interesting. It was pretty much just, you know, Nicholas defending Ava for how he about how she feels about Ryan and wanting him dead and yada yada yada. And that's when apparently I guess there was like a cold blue or whatever. And Britt rushes to the room and checks on Ryan's status. Comes back, you got Ava, Mac, and Nicholas there. So pretty much, long story short, Britt informs them that he's in a vegetable kind of state, or catatonic state. Like, he's out of his coma, but he's not, like, all there. Now, at some point, Ava walks back into Ryan's room. And, you know, she says her last goodbyes or whatever, you know, you're in a state worse than death, yada, yada, yada. And walks off with Nicholas. And at some point, I felt like Ryan sort of smiled a little bit. Like, he's not in a condition that everyone thinks he's in. But my guess is, how is he able to fool... Like, he may be able to fool, like, the doctors, but fooling machinery? How is he able to do that? I know at some point that Ryan's going to get out of this catatonic state, and try to kill Ava. With one hand. I guess we'll just wait and see how that goes. What else? So while Carly's sitting there pretty much reading Jocelyn the Riot Act, as far as, you know, saying that she's going down this dark road, and, you know, you need to sit there and convince Trina to just kind of drop this and let this go. You know, Jocelyn's like, well, I don't understand, like, where would she even get that idea, and how would it even be possible for Taggart to be alive, and if he is alive, why would you do that to Trina? At some point in this conversation, they both see Cyrus, and Carly walks up to Cyrus and is like, you know, my daughter's off limits, her friends are off limits, stay the hell away from the kids. And, at some point where she leaves, Cyrus calls someone and is like, you know, what did he say? I don't remember what he says, but long story short, he's like, now he's more convinced than ever that Taggart's alive. So I guess we'll just wait and see what goes on with that. Also, the last scene that I think I'm going to talk about, because I think that's literally the last scene that there is the Curtis and Laura portion of this episode. So at this point, this doctor is literally about to inject Laura with like a sedative. Just in time, well, this is when a nurse informs Curtis that, oh, don't worry about your patient, the doctor is going to give her something to, you know, help relax her and help her sleep. Curtis runs right in there, stopped the doctor from doing that, and was like, you know, listen, did you even sit there and check to make sure that she's not allergic to whatever you're about to inject her with? He's like, you know what, listen, let me just kind of just talk to my patient, get her to calm down, before you wind up doing something that can't be undone. So when the doctor and the nurse leaves, Laura thanks Curtis for, stopping that in time. At this point, Curtis is like, yo, listen, I gotta get you out of here because this is just, we can't do this. It's just way too close. But Laura's determined to visit this Florence Gray. Yeah, she's just determined to find this Florence Gray. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really understand. Okay, so you find this woman and then what? Because Laura's like, if she's able to talk, she'll give us some information or whatever. We can somehow. I don't understand. How are they going to use Florence Gray as a weapon to stop Cyrus? I'm still, I'm drawing a blank. And this has been going on for a while. But she convinces Curtis to stay, at least until the morning. She does manage to get to Florence Gray's room. And Florence Gray looked like she's just out of it. Like, she's not really all there. So at this point, I don't really understand. Like, Laura seems like she's about to sit there and start talking to her. But then she hears, a noise outside and gets interrupted. I'm not going to lie. At this point, even if she was able to talk, what is she actually going to do? What are they going to do? Are they going to sit there and say, oh, well, if you don't leave Port Charles, we'll threaten to kill Florence or get some information? I don't really understand what they're planning on doing. I mean, seriously, if they were planning on threatening her, Cyrus could sit there. I mean, would Cyrus really call their bluffs? Knowing that, they're the good people and they have a sense of morality and stuff and they're not going to actually do anything to her? I don't really understand where this is leading to. I really don't understand. But judging by the previews of the next episode, Curtis is talking to Laura, so whatever it is, it didn't work. And yes, with that being said, that's actually going to do it for this recap. I just want to make sure I got everything out the way, as far as everything that happened. I'm going to be honest, I don't think this was a really great episode, to be honest. It wasn't terrible, but honestly, tell you the truth, the best part was the Julian stuff, and even with that, the guilt tripping, at least to me, didn't really add up too much. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what your thoughts are. Write it down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm not gonna lie, I can't believe the numbers on these GH reviews. So, thank you. With that being said, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe. I will catch you in the next video.